thank you, anyone who's stopping by here. You're carrying car guy. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Mark, Mr. Copeland. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
We're going to be talking a little bit about what I thought was working for me yesterday or the day before, and then I realized it wasn't. And we did just get here. We're also live now on, oh, that means Poncho does not want me to be eating while I'm speaking. He did such a great job.
Crunchy bag, man. Crunchy bag.
So anyways, we're also now live here on the Facebook, the LinkedIn for you old folks back there.
The YouTube.
And the YouTube. And I say that because I want people to understand. I'm joking.
We're joking.
We're joking.
We're on the interwebs.
We're interwebs, we are. So, okay, so let's talk about this.
All right, let's get into it.
We got to dive in before we lose them.
That's right.
I do that all the time, I lose people.
Well, so Kimberly had a tough day yesterday. And so tell me a little bit about what happened. What was the cause of that? And yes, she's not. We're not promoting any products. She's just.
I'm having a nice cold beverage with my water because that works for me. Both of them work for me. Doing this is my normal, and that works for me. And also this. So yes, excuse me, I'm semi-old. No, you're not, Mark. Anyways, I just had to shout out for Mark giving us a semi-old comment. That was really funny. But anyways, so I don't know what it was in the very, very beginning of the morning. My day had started kind of normal, but kind of not. But then I got the news that my uncle was in the hospital. And my uncle, it's on my dad's side. And he's actually an uncle that I've become close to. And I always say my favorite uncles because I have multiple uncles. So you always want to take a jab at one of them, right? And so because he's in the hospital and like near death, but he's not going to, so I don't even just saying those words bother me. But I want to describe that we thought we were having to leave to go to a funeral tomorrow, or like leave yesterday. I thought I was gonna be leaving today to go to a funeral, like sometime within this nearest future. And so, which is not that big, it's a big deal, but it's not, right? Because for other reasons. He's older, he's got other health issues and things going on. But I found myself so upset and sad to angry about like God, the universe, whatever you believe in. But I believe in God taking my favorite uncle, right? And then causing my dad to be sad, and my cousin, she's an only child. And so they were like this. They're like me and my dad like this.
So a lot of ripple effect of an impact of what would happen if he did pass.
Correct. Yes. And knowing that, and then my dad and I kind of got into a fight or disagreement because he said he didn't want to go. And so I was like, no, you're the one that's going to be angry because I'm going to spray that. See, this is how you manage Kimberly, and you take objects out of her hands. But
we don't want to get restricted out of anybody's site. Okay.
So, and we're going to stay on, we're kind of try and be mindful of how long we're on here. But if you do have questions, I'm looking at the Insta over here. Be careful, she's Latina. Yes, I am, Michael, and thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Don't worry, she's good in good habits.
Yes. So that's a whole other shiny penny that I could totally go down the rabbit hole because I'm ADD.
But we won't today.
We will not, because once you're managing me, and I've had some things to drink, right? Like I how do I look and feel to you, like when I showed up here?
She was
Be honest.
she was happy. She was 1,000 miles a minute, right?
Yeah.
Those of you that know Kimberly know that she's high speed, low drag, or all gas, no brakes. Right?
There we go. All gas, no
as
brakes.
we would say.
Yes.
So that's what we saw today, and she came into my home to mentor me on how to do this a little bit and get into this, but also getting ready to listen to her and hear her story and hear what happened yesterday.
Which I would not normally be like this in front of somebody I didn't know for 30 some years. Okay, kids, just for you Zennials, because just for you folks just get back out into the job market, not a cool time to be buds. You are not buds with your superior or your somebody that you report to. You don't do that. Don't do this with you either. Like
even someone
seek therapy, a good friend.
Yeah, I'll say I'm an HR professional.
Yes, there we
I'm
go.
the director of HR for a company. And I will oftentimes, when we have a group of folks that are new to us, I will tell them in a joking but kidding on the square way. I'll tell them, don't get your meat where you make your bread.
Woo!
Right, and don't get your honey where you make your money.
My mom used to say, "Don't poop in your own backyard."
Right.
Is that the same
a less crass way of saying that, right?
My mother used to say that.
Because it gets complicated. I tell people all the time.
Yes.
While everything is good, it's good.
Yeah.
But then what happens when people separate? Well,
that's a whole other HR. I had that
people
problem
pick sides.
early. Oh, anyways. So let's move on. Yeah.
So anyway,
but because I've known him, because he is my mentor. He is one of my first bosses. I don't even want to count the Sportsplex because I don't remember who the boss was there. I just wasn't there very long. But he recruited me. He's one of my first bosses. For anyone who on the LinkedIn, YouTube, and the Facebook, you got to go back to my Instagram to figure out, like, so you can get some more insight. Like, watch our live before this one. It's there. It's on the replay. It's been sitting on the World Wide Web. So point being is I would not do this with any client, right? He is my friend and mentor first.
That's right. First.
I'm just trying to help the kids in the back.
That's right. That's what we're doing. So it's a good update. So like Kim mentioned, our last live, she talked a little bit about her mental health and where she was at. You know, some of the uphill climbs she's been.
From being a family caregiver, I realize.
You know, the roller coaster of a ride.
Yes.
So yesterday was another edition, if you will.
Yes.
In the story of That's Kimberly.
Because I have found that there are 4 huge pillars that caused me to have this. They diagnosed me with mood ruptus disorder, or it has to do with my temper, my anger, that it's sitting and boiling and bubbling, and that I don't do well. And I realized I don't do well with people who I don't know and don't interact with, or somebody who's just treating me like the step monster, which you have to go back to our other lives to go find out who that is, or in a relationship that in the past, you know, like, so ex-boyfriend, right? So there are 4 pillars. It is the step monster. It's the breakup of the boyfriend that I kind of hid for a year, but just didn't want to talk about it, right? Like, I just put it in a box,
right,
and did not unpack that box. No unpacking that box until this January in 2023. But my first time in emergency timeout was during COVID, when I was coming in hot to tell off the step monster, like, and got put into adult timeout that normally I wouldn't even tell an HR person. But I'm not worried because I'm a consultant and I've already done the things. It's okay, kids. Like, people know my story, so just go Google me.
She doesn't work for me, so she can.
There we go.
I'm not counseling her as her employer, if you will.
No, but he is my friend, right? But he has that employer aspect, but he also has the friend hat too, because you always have that looking out for.
And that element is very useful in my HR experience, which is, you know, management and HR for 30 plus years. I won't divulge more than that. There's 30 plus years, so I would consider myself seasoned. You know,
seasoned is right.
I've been through it, and so
yes,
something that's very useful is to listen to a person from the guideline, the legal, the regulatory perspective, but also have the human element aware of that.
Which it's been hard. A lot of people don't have that.
Yeah, so that's really important, and it plays really well in a situation like this with someone that I've known for as long as I've known you. Right, I've known you for a long time.
My first boss.
I know
first
your,
boss
I know
man.
your mom. I know your brother.
Yes.
Right.
A lot of the people that I graduated high school with, because I was in sports and my brothers were in sports, so they're groups of friends. They all
very integrated, very much overlap. So we kept in touch along
the Facebook and social media
through the years, a lot of that, and so here we are, and I find myself not just learning, but I really feel in a way very honored that you would trust me.
Yeah, well,
this, right?
I think it's very important because our ex, he's an ex gen. He's right there. He's a Generation X on the higher end, right?
I'm just a Generation X guy.
And we're 7 years apart, okay?
Don't label me, Holmes.
You see, he threw it back at me, and because I am also have that, like, there's a little element where he's a lot more conservative on some things than I am, and vice versa. you know, he's happily married for how many years now?
Well,
I missed the wedding, so
we've been together for 11 years.
Okay. So we've been with 11 years already. Like, how many children do you have? Two children. Two girls.
We have two children.
Two,
yes,
okay.
2 daughters.
Yes. So see, so like he's lived his life, kids. Like this is not advice. He is mentoring me on something, because this is new for me to put myself out here like this as it relates to mental health. Not new to me to go live
Right.
and talking about whatever we want to talk about. Like I didn't go live for almost 2 months because I felt fake. I felt fake getting on there, and then even leading up even to when I got put into the adult timeout. Like I had the best advice from Beth Rahini. She said, even though she wasn't talking about live, she's talking about a reel on the Insta, shout out. But I was used to going live. That she said, yeah, I know, right? It's a real thing.
I have to burp her like a baby. No swaddling though. But anyway, so
I started doing this because I wanted to be committed to it, because my nieces and my nephews are those millennials, are those Gen Zs, because I never had kids, and I see how they like. I want them to see that, hey, this is just life that's happening to me, and if you don't have your poop together, bad stuff could happen.
Absolutely. And if you don't develop mechanisms that help you, I personally don't like the word cope.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer the word manage, because manage has an end result, whereas coping oftentimes feels like you're kicking the can down the road.
Well, when you're young, maybe, but for me, I absolutely have sat in to figure out what. I might be overly self-aware on some things, and the others I'm totally oblivious. Like when Poncho took away my Doritos and took away the Michelob Ultra, that I'm wondering where it's at.
Nearby. It's within reachable.
But that's the point, is that I'm self-aware. I get when somebody has to manage me, which I'm very happy that it's my long-term friend that we weren't, when I said on social media we were able to stay connected, but I stay connected with you like before there was any social media.
Yeah.
Like I go into the old store that he managed and that he managed me at, and I'm like, hey, what's up? Poncho,
Yeah.
look and see, we're losing some internet over here, but we're still rolling.
Yeah. So back to the situation that you
Yes.
encountered yesterday, and when Kim talks about her step monster, she's talking about her stepdad, and if you need to hear more about it, you can go look at other lives. But that was kind of intertwined here in your situation, right? So she's feeling terrible about the potential loss of her uncle, and then
more awful about wanting that loss to occur somewhere else.
Yeah, those thoughts that many of us have, and most of us have. The way I look at you right now, right, when you're like a runner, right? It's like when you're going to get a root canal, right? And that nerve is right there. You're feeling everything that way.
Yeah.
It's not the usual. There is no shock absorption. There is no padding in between. It's just right to the nerve, right? So I can see how that escalated for you quickly in that, you had some negative thoughts about, your stepdad.
Yeah. The step monster. And I use the word step monster because I want people to understand is I had a great relationship with my father. Like so good that like I am not married to this day because my level of what a man should do for their children is up here on top of what a man should do for his woman, right? Like it is high bar. So I am not married because I had a great relationship with my father, great relationship with my brothers, like the respect level.
You have good relationships with men for the most part.
Yes, and women too, but men, I think early on because I grew up with a bunch of boys, right? Like that's where I like it too. But I don't like people to think that I had a stepdad that he was even a father to me, right? So that's how much hurt I have bubbled.
So
in
a healthy way to refer to him as your mom's husband.
I try to do that, and people miss it when I'm like this.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of hard to miss, right? But so if we get to it, if you say it, raw nerve.
Yeah, the raw nerve is
What was it that you were feeling in that moment? What did your mind say? I wish
he was dead
instead of
my uncle.
Right.
Yeah.
Who was not dead.
He's no, neither one of them.
Very, very sick. But like I told Kim today, that's probably not a really positive thing to be thinking about anybody, because nothing good can come from us wishing someone else ill.
Yes. And I am not that person either. Like, I have a lot of ex-boyfriends that I am still friends with to this day. I have a lot of old friends that you just drop off and you don't see them again that I'm friends. Like, I am not a vindictive, like, I don't have that toxicity in my heart. And so that's what got me so heightened and pissed off yesterday, probably at myself. Well, first it was like, I have to blame, my God, the God that I believe in. Well, why would you leave, take one and leave the other? And then I had to come back down to reality, like, okay, this is not good for nobody.
It's important to understand that they're not intertwined, and it's not a punishment.
Correct. It's correct.
It's not a punishment. It's
not one for the other at all.
It's the unfortunate process of life that happens.
Yes.
But because you've never been a toxic person, at least not in my experience with you.
No.
You've never been toxic.
Anybody out there? Well, actually, there was an ex-boyfriend that was on here. He's no longer on there right now. I don't know who that person is. But we could ask him.
You start talking about the exes and said, I'm out, homie.
Let me show you.
I'm out. I don't want this to spill over on me, bro.
No. But I am definitely not that person, right? And I even with relationships, even business relationships, I just brought to my awareness that even in business relationships, I could hold grudges that I shouldn't be. That it's stupid. Yeah. It's dumb. It's dumb all the way around.
I strongly believe that hatred and grudges are, and I've told you before.
Yes.
It's like you drinking poison and hoping someone else dies.
Right? That is, and that's what I realized. And instead of having that affirmation or that quote from Poncho on my wall, I would rather just think positive thoughts. I'd rather choose the happy thoughts. I'd rather have all those other things. But I need to have that written down somewhere so that when the Kimberly gets so mad at the STEM monster that I could rip. I was stabbing a pan. I was stabbing a pizza pan, Poncho. It's my story to tell, so I'm going to tell it. That when all this bubbled over was during COVID in 2000, whenever they shut down the state of Texas.
2020.
I was coming in hot to tell him, Step Monster, that how he wasn't going to tell me what to tell my mom, this, that, and the other, and that I wasn't a bad daughter. Like, I was coming in. That they had to put me in adult timeout.
Yeah. And you paid the price, right, for feeling something about him that... and the shit part is, pardon me, the sour part of that is, I owe a bunch of swears, is that he's probably not even thinking about it.
I know.
Right. So I'm gonna give you a test that I was given when I was going through a really tough time in my life, and was told you need to let go of that stuff. So I want you to hold this. Just hold it up with one hand. You're pretty strong. You're fit. Just don't hold it there.
I'm not fit.
Hold it right. Extend your arm all the way. Okay, we're just gonna keep talking, and you're gonna hold that. Okay, you're just gonna hold that.
I've done this.
We're gonna explain.
I have no upper body strength, and I know exactly what he's doing, but this is very heavy, and I can't hold it anymore.
Okay, you can give it back to me. Well, the same way. The same way this is heavy to your arm.
I know.
Those grudges, that anger, that hatred, if you will.
I feel it in my neck.
It weighs you down.
I feel it in my neck.
And it will not have a positive impact on you.
No.
And I'm not preaching at you.
No, you're not. But that's right there. What he just did is something that I've learned in there. I knew because I started when I was put into the grippy sock vacay this last time. The young ladies that I connected with happened to be 25 to 30 something year olds. Like, so, the millennials and some Zers. But I kept telling them if I had started therapy when I was in my 20s, I wouldn't have even be in that second emergency detention, adult timeout if I had started therapy when I was in my 20s. But because I kept everything from the step monster in this box for 35 years, that's why I'm so angry. And people are like, how can you just not delete him from your life? How come you just can't you just don't see his text messages? Can't you just not take his calls? I'm like, well, I wish I could.
The answer is no. The answer is no. Short answer is no. She hasn't.
It's gonna be in my pants.
Right, but and that's why
Yes.
these conversations are so valuable. Right?
Yes.
And that's why the interactions with those of you that do interact are important. You know, if you've had positive interactions with Kimberly, let her know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, that's very helpful because I am going through a time, and we're trying to be mindful on both Instagram as well as Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. Thank you for everyone stopping by. I want to be mindful, but yes, telling me, because I am in my head right now. I know that mental health is not something that me as a woman in my age, I'm almost 50, and me as a Latina, so my culture, like that's a whole other 30 minutes we're not going to do today. We're going to do with another Latina. Shout out Diana, because she already committed to me today. So Diana, me and Bunch are going to get on, and we're going to talk about some mental health, because Diana she's actually been with every, around, and I had spoken to her on every one of my like emergency timeouts. And it's realizing that, oh my God, caregiving, trying to juggle my life and someone else's life is I don't know how you parents did it. Like, well, first, the women that bear the babies, okay, shout out, but and just because you bear the babies doesn't make you a mama. That's just a conversation. But point is, because I know great dads like you that like you stress about putting them into the world.
That's right.
And then are they going to come back? Are they going to do all the right things? That's what family caregiving does when you're doing it for a parent and you've never had a child.
The roles reversed. She did that with you. Now you're doing it with her.
Yes.
Right. And those of you that are parents, right? You know that. I remember before my first daughter was born, my mom told me, "You will not have a sleepless night again." Right. And when they're little, you worry about, are they going to choke?
All
are
the
they going
things.
to stop breathing? Are they going to catch an illness?
Are they going to poop in their pants or pee in their pants?
That's going to happen. I mean, so you embrace that. And then as
not when they're old and you're the adult.
And then when they get older, you worry about, are they drinking, or are they putting in their bodies?
Yeah, all of it.
Who are they out with? Are they driving? Then doing things they're not supposed to? How are they doing in school? Are they connecting well socially? All those things, right? So it's true. You do constantly worry about them. So that's why so much work goes into prepping them as they go. And if you didn't have that experience with your mom's husband being a mentor, he was never going to replace your dad.
No, my dad was always there. He showed up every weekend.
But he could have still been a positive impact.
He could have totally been. I know lots of stepdads that were good stepfathers to their children. I always tell people my parents didn't love each other, but they loved us. Right. And they parented us the best that they could. And we didn't come with manuals, people, so let's not be judging. We didn't.
Some of us have thicker manuals than others.
I don't know what that means, but okay. Juicy, because I am also 80.
I was saying some people are easier to read and some people are tougher to read.
See? Thank you for the explanation. Because we are going to play a game. I think that's a millennial, a Gen X. We're going to play what category should we put this phrase under at some point? We're going to think of what the name is. We'll explain Punch and I need to work it out before we put it on live. But our goal is to have these sensitive conversations, sensitive assumptions, right? In a more live realm over the next couple of months, as I'm unpacking everything that happened to me in the both emergency timeouts, because I don't want to go back to emergency timeout. I never want to go back to a mental hospital ever, ever, never, ever, never, ever again. Right. And again, kids, he is my friend first. He is not my HR or my supervisor or anybody that would care that I said I was in a mental hospital. But some employers might, they shouldn't, because mental health matters. Mental health matters. But you have to be careful and you have to be in a safe space. Right now, I'm in a safe space.
And as employers, most employers are very respectful of their people's situations, and information like this is typically isolated and insulated to where it's not shared.
Yeah.
Generally.
Okay. Yeah.
You're doing it because you want to create an awareness.
This is my story.
You want to share your story.
Yes, this is my story. I am telling people my story, what happened, and how I am learning from what happened to me, right? So if you have a mental health journey or story, please leave it in the comments. Insta, Thank you for everyone stopping by. And I'm not going to go through all of this stuff, but in the comments, leave it. Tag somebody that you know. Here on the Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Please, if you have a question or you have a mental health journey, leave it in the comments. We want to talk about. This is the safe space. This is what I'm trying to help corporate America, small, medium-sized businesses, all of them understand that it doesn't matter how big or small of an organization you have. Mental health matters, and it's an everyday thing. And if you want quality, qualified people, no matter what age, because I'm almost 50, right? If this would have happened when I was in my 20s and 30s, they would have just labeled me as irresponsible, a drunkard, and whatever, that floozy, a flake, like all the F words, I would have been at it, right? But because I am a responsible human, this is like my whole tribe had to lift me up to get me back to El Paso, to get my whole entire life back from one side, the west side of town where we're at. Shout out EP, to the east side, right? Like, who does that?
Yeah.
Well, not me.
And you've built a reputation professionally over a long career.
Yes.
Where people know who you are. They know what entity you are. So they know that this is
a brand.
A brand, but these things that have happened to you, they're an aberration to your behavior. So hopefully nobody's just saying, oh, that's just who she is. And it's not. It's just.
Well, it is who I am right now. Absolutely, 100%.
It is, but it isn't. Those aren't your values.
Correct.
That's not what makes
you. Not making me.
Not
gonna. I'm not gonna have this define me. That's what it is. This is not. This, I want my mental health to be a message, a good message. Hey kids, let's talk about it message, and not fluff it and put it underneath the carpet.
That's message. A very Gen X thing to do, by the way.
What?
To take your problems and.
Oh yeah, see, yes it is, because that's how I was taught to do it.
Right.
But because I grew up in the social media realm, I'm not going to do that. And because I feel that my nieces and my nephews deserve more. Right? Your kids deserve more. Every person, whether I know your children or not, they deserve more. And let me tell you, that alpha generation, like that's like your great, even though you don't have any great grandkids, like they're the ones going to change the world. But the Gen Z,
yet, so.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm saying. You don't have any, but the Gen Zs and the millennials are changing the world. But the alphas are really going to make that happen. It's the millennials and the Gen Zs that are showing me as a Gen Xer what I should be doing differently.
And sometimes as a Gen Xer, I'm not comfortable with it. I'm not. But I have to understand that that's something you have to learn and adapt to and grow with.
Yeah.
Because if not, I'm going to stay stuck.
Yep.
And I won't be able to serve a diverse population of my workforce that has every one of those generations in it.
And all kinds of cultures, all kinds of ethnicities, all kinds of religions. Like, let me go, like on LinkedIn, I said something the other day that I was like, I didn't know that like, I'm still learning about ethnicity and about religion. And I was like, wow, because I grew up as a Baptist Catholic, Latin. My mom's Latin and my dad's Okie from Muskogee, shout out, Tulsa, Oklahoma. White, where I get my last name from, Scott. So a little bit of a melting, but not, right? Like, but just different. Everybody's different, right? Everybody's different. So we wanted this to be a safe space. If you want to be a guest, because we're going to wrap this up, we want to be respectful of everyone's time and Poncho's time. If you want to be a guest, leave it in the comments. There is a link in my bio that you could also go in. And if you want to learn more, you can schedule some time. If you know either one of us, text me, don't message me, but send me a text. How can people connect with you so that if they're interested in being a guest,
they can DM me on Facebook, on YouTube, on
all of them,
on all the social,
all of them. Like he's watching. So if you want to be a guest, and we're looking for an extra co-host, but I think I'm gonna wait until Deb gets back. Shout out Deborah. It's Deb from Texas. Excuse me. NAA, the conference that would normally be at, which I was not sad about missing this year, right? Begin to hang out with my mama. And
it's stress you didn't need right now.
Correct. Absolutely. But like when Deb gets back, we're going to figure out if we need one more co-host. But just if you're interested, if you have questions about my mental health, if you want to know more about Poncho, when's your podcast on?
My podcast is on Fridays, and it is called Thoughts from the Midlife, and lots of this kind of stuff, lots of sports.
So we could get into a little sport. Poncho's going to be sitting and co-hosting for 3 months till the end of the summer. He's committed to me. Yes. Wednesday nights, it's going to be Poncho and I, Wednesday night, and a guest, and that's going to be like anywhere between 4 and 6. We're going to figure out. It's going to leave it up to the guest, and then Deb and I will be on Wednesdays in at lunchtime. So if one has one, then we do the other. So we'll that's how we're going to run this year's Industry Live. So leave it in the comments. We're right at 30 mark. You have anything else that you want to? Oh, I didn't even put these up.
If you're on any of my socials, please like and share. Subscribe. Appreciate it.
And I put them. We'll put them in the descriptions on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Sorry, Insta. There's no connection there, and I'm not going back there to do that. So I'm gonna just throw this up, take that down, and there. If you need to know more about me and connect, if you need to know here on the Insta, go back to the old past lives. So, okay, here hit the end broadcast. See you guys. Bye. See you guys next week. Bye.